Ding, 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 everybody. We are back, and this is Ringside's Corner Confessions, and once again, I am Trey Amazing, favorite part-time stripper, part-time pastor, but full-time dating commentator. And today I'm joined by the founder and CEO of Push Radio and the new podcast sweeping social media, Conversations with Belle, the intrepid Belle Morgan. Welcome to the ring, Belle.
Thank you.
All right, and so everybody out there, if you are new to this channel and you are enjoying the awesome content, go ahead and drop us some sexy likes and make sure you add some comments down below. Let us know how you feel. And most importantly, and I can't stress this enough, don't forget to pound that subscribe button, all right? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, get notified every time a video drops, and we keep it moving. So, Belle, how are you doing today?
I'm well.
Hey, well rhymes with Belle. Bars for days, that's what we're doing. So this is your first time on the channel. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. And you know, you are someone, if you're on social media, you're someone that people need to know, right? And so, you know, you just started your own, you're a podcaster, you're a content creator, you have Conversations with Belle. And so before we really get into the meat of this, Conversations with Belle, kind of give us a, you know, kind of a quick background into Conversation with Belle and the direction behind that.
Okay, so I'm a Gen Xer, and whoop whoop. So I felt like there were some conversations that we were not having on the internet, and so I decided that I would, Okay, so I decided that I wanted to bring those conversations forward, basically to have the conversations that I've been having with my girlfriends privately, that I've been having with my male friends and family members, and so Conversations with Belle was born. So I'm real excited about that. I took a little break at the top of the year, and now we're back. So be tuned for that.
All right. And so in terms of podcasting and, you know, radio and how long have you had skin in the game, and, you know, how long have you, you know, really been doing this?
I've been a music lover forever, but Push Radio was founded in 2013 when I was living in Houston. So almost 10 years I've been doing it, yeah.
Okay. And what got you into this?
Into radio or my love of music? Long time ago, I used to want to be an R&B artist, so there are funny stories surrounding that. Didn't happen, obviously, but I still loved music, and at that time, internet radio wasn't a thing, right? We were forced to listen to whatever was on terrestrial radio. So if you didn't like what was playing on 102.1 or 103.3, you know, you had to either listen to CDs or turn the radio off. So I just decided that I wanted to give mainly independent artists or indie artists voice, and so that's really how I started, is because I wanted to play what I wanted to hear and what I thought people in my demographic would enjoy, and that's how Push started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so love of music, terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that encompasses a lot, and it sounds like, I mean, you've been here before. You know, really got, you know, a firm grip into this genre, right? And so with that, I mean, with the music, you got that covered, you got the business end covered. Now, in terms of the personal life, because business-wise, you know, it seems like you already have a firm grasp in what you're doing, your assignment in life, as well as your love of music. But in terms of, and you know, as a dating commentator, you know, we gotta dive into it. You know, I gotta pick on you a little bit.
Yeah.
And so out here in these streets, you are. Would you say you are single, involved? Or
I am
involved?
Single, and I am mingling.
Singling.
I'm
and
dating
mingling.
with a purpose. I'm dating intentionally at this particular point in my life. Yeah.
All right. Okay. And so you talked about Gen X. I'm Gen X as well.
Yeah.
That's the best Gen. You know what I mean? No diss to the millennials. I got no problem. I got no beef with millennials or the Gen Zers. You know, they doing their thing. But hey, you know, I'm all about Gen X. I'm all about 90s R&B, 90s hip hop. That's, you know, that's my lane.
Yeah.
You know, if people are down with this new, you know, era music, it's all good. But, you know, I know what I was raised on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, coming from Gen X, we knew what smooth R&B was.
Yeah.
We talked about good loving. We talked, you know, our R&B, you know, we really stretched it out with the audio foreplay. We knew what lovemaking was about. You know what I mean? And it translated into dating. Translated into dating. It also translated into our marriages. But today is a different monster out there, both with the music and how it translates into dating. Everything now is about throat babies and pound towns and all this other stuff that I really can't relate to. But hey, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you know, it has an effect, it has an influence in how people are dating. So I wanted to bring you into the ring, especially today, because we have a topic that, this is the first time this topic has been brought on my channel, but it is a topic that people can have their own opinions about, but, you know, some polarizing opinions nonetheless. Talking about dating as a single mother, right? Now, dating, and for everybody out there, Ringside is birthed here in Atlanta, Georgia, and dating in Atlanta can be, well, it can be, you know, its own gumbo in and of itself. But when you're out here, you're doing your thing, but in your personal life, you're trying to find that right one for you. You're trying to find your soulmate. You're trying to find the one that God divinely created for you, and nobody else for you. Nobody else but you, but Belle. So, given your experiences dating as a single mother, what are some of the things, highs and lows, that you've experienced out here?
That's a loaded question. I've seen a lot of different things, and I don't think it's just really specific to single mothers. I'm saying that it's for single women across the board. You know, we have, as mothers, we have an extra layer, you know, to get through. But I'm hearing the same things from single childless women that I'm hearing from the single mom. So, of course, when you're dating as a single mom, you want to be careful to vet the guy, because that person is going to potentially have access to your children. So in my experience, people haven't even been getting through the vetting process for whatever reason. And so I think as a single mom, sometimes you can become isolated because there's the added pressure of trying to protect your children, at least for me. So I think I fell into this pattern of, rather than expose them to the wrong person, I just didn't expose myself to anybody because it just didn't seem to be worth it. Now my sons are older. You know, I have 2 adult sons and 2 teenagers, and I'm about to be an empty nester. So it's a little different and a little less trickier than it might be probably for someone with small children. They're pretty independent. I can leave them. I can go travel. I can do a whole lot of things because they're more self-sufficient. So I think it's the extra vetting that you have to do because there are children involved. And, you know, your children are protective of you. They love you, and they don't want to see you be hurt. And you certainly don't want to introduce somebody into your life that's going to hurt them. So
now, because you're dating as a single mother, what are some of the things that are unique to you in terms of your criteria for the men that you would allow in your life? Because, you know, given everything you got going on, plus you're the mother of black sons, I know that has a lot to do in terms of what you look for and the type of man that you will bring around, you know, bring around them. Because again, in addition to companionship and wanting to date with a purpose, whatever man you date ultimately is going to be around your son, is going to have influence. So in terms of, as a single mother, what are some of the things that as a man he got to come to the table, he got to bring to the table and come correct? What are some I guess, core values and criteria that are very, I guess, specific, but also, most important?
Most importantly, he has to have a relationship with God.
Bada bing.
And I don't mean that he knows God exists, but that he is actually in relationship with God. He talks to God. He prays to God. He consults God before he makes decisions concerning himself, me, and ultimately, my children. And the second thing is he has to want to be a father figure. Like some men I've encountered don't want to be father figures, and I'm like, I don't know how you could not be if you're in relationship with me. I would be some sort of a mother figure to your children. I prefer somebody who's been married before. Mm-hmm. I'm divorced. I would prefer someone who has children because my shop is closed for that.
That was going to be my next question. I was going to ask.
I'm done.
I was like, can he have kids? What if he wants children? So that was actually going to be a segue into the next thing. So, if you meet a man,
mm-hmm.
And he has all his ducks in a row,
mm-hmm.
Financially, professionally, and he also has a relationship with God. Now, but if he comes with you and he says, a lot of people say, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. Would that be okay? Like, what if he has a relationship with God, he prays, but, there's that but, he says, I'm not involved in church, I don't have a home church. I pray to God, but I don't do the church thing. Would that be acceptable?
Not doing the church thing. I don't really do the church thing, but I would.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I met someone who that was their thing, I'm open to that.
Mm-hmm.
I have met men, I'm 51,
mm-hmm.
And I have met men 5-7 years my senior who don't know what they believe. So that's a concern.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm plugged into God, and if you're not, I'm not sure where you're getting your information from on how you're supposed to handle me and my heart. So that's an issue. What was the other part of the question?
So in terms of you already actually answered it, but for a lot of people out there, because I've been in that boat as well, they have a relationship with God,
but they're spiritual.
They are spiritual, but they're not very religious. You know what I mean? They may dip and dab in terms of reading the Bible, but in terms of their connection with God, they feel like, look, me and the man upstairs, we're good. But in terms of getting them out on a Sunday morning and taking them to a mega church and taking them somewhere and shouting hallelujah and
mm-hmm.
whatnot, that's not their thing. Would that be acceptable? And would you, because for a lot of, and this is going to be the other part, for a lot of people who want a man that has a connection with God, and if he comes to you with that dreaded S word, that S word that's out there, and I think you know where I'm going. If the man says the S word, he says submission, right? He says, look, submission, that's the name of the game. Could you submit to a man who has a relationship with God, but in terms of religion, he's not out there like that?
No.
No, not at all, or?
No, because, there are people out here freestyling. They're
freestyling.
They're freestyling, they're operating under stuff that they remember from when they were little kids in church. They haven't had any kind of teaching. They haven't talked to any like-minded men. They're operating off of recollection, and that's at this stage for me, that's reckless for me to do that. I don't want to partner with somebody who is downloading their information to you. Like I would have to dig into that a little deeper. Like, do they have people that they're accountable to, or are they only accountable to themselves? Like, I have a problem with that. Nothing wrong with it, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. They need to be connected. I prefer a man be connected to a minister, to teaching, to like-minded men, so that I know when he's nutting up with me, there's somebody out there that'll talk to him and say, listen, man, I don't think you're handling that the right way. This is what you should do. This is what God said. They can show him in scripture. This is the right way to do this versus him just operating off of something he saw on a podcast.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's important to me that he have a true and genuine relationship with God. Yeah.
And so, you know, in terms of, so we've got that covered in terms of having a relationship with God, you know, that's important. But also, you know, one of the things, because I've explained to people from my experience, I've been in the genre of dating and relationships, you know, well over 10 years. I've explained to people that in this genre of dating and relationships, it can be extremely polarizing, just as polarizing as politics. And, you know, and the reason why I equate it to politics is because when you talk about politics, you know, depending on if you're talking to someone on the left or someone on the right, everyone is going to have their opinion on how the government should run. You know, people on the left say the government should run this way, and they're very specific. But across the aisle, people on the right, they say, nope, the government should run this way. It's no different in relationships. You know, you got people who are old school and traditional, and you got new school and modern. You know, people who are modern and new school say, look, dating, relationships, and marriages should operate this way. But people on the other side who are old school and traditional say, nope, dating, relationships, and marriages should operate this way. In terms of what you're looking for in a relationship, courting, and even marriage, what side of the aisle would you say you fall under? Would you say you're looking for a man who has more old school, traditional values? Or are you someone that says, nope, it's 2023, we're doing things more modern, we're doing things more new school? What or where would you say you fall in that category?
I think I'm probably a mixture of all of it. Like, because thinking evolves, right? The woman that I was at 25, I am not now at 51. So I feel like there should be some evolution there. The core values, you know, are still the same, but I do think there's not one way to do marriage, right? I think it depends on the two people within the relationship to figure out what's going to work for them. And I really wouldn't care what everybody else is doing. It's what works for us. So if it's a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, a little bit of the futuristic, I'm cool with that, right? You know, when people are talking about traditional, they pick and choose which parts of traditional they want to be, right? So if you expect me to cook and clean and wash all day, then does that mean I don't have to work? Does that mean you're paying for everything and I'm just managing the house? Or are you expecting me to work 10 hours like you do, come home, and then I'm, you know, taking care of the lion's share of everything? That's not fair, right? So it just kind of depends. It depends on what we decide. You know, I think it's very individualistic. It's specific to the couple, whatever works for you.
Now, do you think, and you mentioned being 51, a single mother, do you think there's a stigmata?
For sure.
When it comes to, you know, being a single mother?
Yeah, for sure.
So can you speak to that stigmata? Can you speak to, in terms of the highs and lows and what certain people in terms of stereotypes, you know, people have in terms of, you know, not only a single mother, but a single black mother raising black boys. Can you speak to that?
That she is loose and irresponsible, and she picked a king to lay down with and make babies with, K-A-N-G, that she hates men, that she hates her baby's father or ex-husband, that she is alpha, that she's lazy. What other some of the other things? Oh, we're the reason that society is crumbling. Is all the black single mothers' fault. It's a lot of stereotypes.
A lot of stereotypes. Now, in terms of, you know, Gen X single mothers and millennial single mothers, and now, I mean, let's keep it real. You got the Gen Zs out here, and their dating is, how can I say it? very unique to that age group. You know what I mean? You know, they're still also dealing with the highs and lows of dating and dating as single mothers. And, you know, some of the things, some of the ways that they relate to dating can be a little unique to them, but also, you know, they themselves have their highs and lows. You know, in terms of comparing and contrasting, you know, across the generations, what do you think are some things that are specific to your generation, and also some ways that, you know, you think that the millennials and Gen Zs can learn from you?
That's a loaded question. Specific to Gen X, I think that, you know, I know a lot of women who are unhappily married, right? Full stop. That's all I'm going to say about that. When you peel it back, though, they're afraid to leave because they're so attached to the idea of what they're presenting to the world. And they don't want to face, you know, what I'm facing as far as the judgment and the stigma attached to being a single mother. So what I would say, millennials and the younger, Gen Zers, is there a generation between those two? Or is it just millennial? I can't remember. But it's the one, choose wisely, right? Vet before you make babies, like as much as you can, because anybody who's been divorced knows that, you know, who you marry is not who you divorce, right? It's not the same person. Things happen in the middle. So as much as you can, vet. And then just, you know, you don't have to stay in a place where you're being mistreated or unloved or degraded. You know, there's a way for you to walk away with the dignity. You can still be dignified as a single mother. Like, I feel like a lot of the stuff that I see on the internet that I don't even pay attention to anymore, like I don't click the comments. I won't be reading the comments here. But it's somehow being a single mother means that you're less than. You're not worth anything. You're not worthy of love. Your children don't deserve a father figure because you're divorced, or you don't deserve to feel that. And it's the whole tension that I see a lot with Future and Russell Wilson and Sierra, that whole thing. Like, I'm trying to figure out, like, what is the issue? Like, what's wrong with her being loved? And what's wrong with her son from Future being loved by Russell Wilson? I don't know. But I see a lot of that. And I would just say to the younger women out there that there's a man out there for you. You don't need the whole internet to love and respect you. You just need one. Just one person. And he's out there. Yeah.
Indeed. Indeed. I ain't mad at that. Really quickly, everybody out there, if you're watching, you know, if you can, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Go ahead, give this video some likes, drop some comments down below. And also, if you're on social media, go ahead and go to that search bar, type in Ringside LLC, find the private group, make sure you go ahead and, you know, request to join. Either myself or one of the admins will admit you. And also, again, I can't stress this enough, if you're on social media, if you're on Instagram, go ahead and find me at Dating Commentator. And you follow me, I'll follow you, and we're going to have some fun. So, you know, one of the other things I wanted to ask, in terms of dating as a single mother and the influence of social media, because, you know, we can't deny the fact that social media influences dating. You know, social media is going to have a grip on the type of people we date. And value systems, because, you know, social media, regardless of how you feel about it, it does have an influence, right, in terms of the type of people we date and the, you know, I guess, you know, their value systems and belief. How, in your opinion, as a Gen Xer, you're out here dating, how would you say social media has influenced who you date and the quality of dating out there? Do you feel like social media in and of itself is a positive thing in terms of the quality of dating, courtship, or do you feel that social media has a positive effect on the type of men you date?
Social media does not impact who I'm dating. It doesn't. What I've learned from social media is that people present a whole lot of things. You don't even know if the person on the other side of the keyboard, if that's really who they are. So it doesn't impact me as far as who I choose to date. That is strictly the connection. You know, it's based on the connection that I have with that person. If I'm feeling them and they're feeling me, then it is what it is. I'm not swayed one way or the other by what social media says I should or shouldn't do, or who I should and shouldn't date. Don't care about that. What it has shown me, though, is because I think I gave college-educated men more credit than they probably deserved, you know. And so what I have been able to assess is that there are a lot of college-educated men who have dangerous, problematic beliefs about women, and more specifically single mothers. So it's weed to some people who are on my like possibility list, you know, if anything, and then I can see kind of how they really feel about women and black mothers, and it's like, oh no, you're a problem. So if anything, that's what social media has done for me, is to realize that I can't give men passes just because they're educated. That I need to peel that back a little farther, dig into that a little more, because I see a lot of problematic things posted, and then it turned me off. Yeah. Short answer, yeah.
And so, you know, last question, and because I really wanted to get your thoughts. I'm sure, you know, this happened, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with the comment that Ebony K Williams dropped a while ago. Ebony K Williams, she's a New York best-selling author. She's a black woman. You've seen her on The Breakfast Club. Not too long ago, Ebony K Williams, she was having a conversation with Ayanna, right? Am I saying her name?
Ayanla?
Yeah.
Or Iyanla. It's Iyanla, yeah.
Every time I say the name, I say it differently.
Iyanla, yeah.
Right. She was having a conversation. They were having a conversation about dating. And, you know, Ayanna, she's always, you know, I give her credit trying to fix people's lives, and that includes their personal dating lives. And so Ebony K Williams, she made a comment that went viral in terms of her dating metrics, her dating preferences. Ayanna asked her, and this is where I want to get your opinion, right? Ayanna asked her, could you date a bus driver? Ebony, the thing that came out of Ebony's face is what set social media ablaze. So the question was, could you date a bus driver? And Ebony's answer was, only if he owns the bus. And from that on, ooh, man, when I tell you that the gender wars lit up in terms of, you know, some people felt like that comment was very bougie, very stuck up, very snobbish. Who are you to look down on men who drive buses? The hard-working, blue-collar men that drive buses. Other people were saying that is her right to make that choice. Why would you expect a hyper-educated, beautiful, successful woman like Ebony K Williams to date a man who drives a bus? Why would you expect a woman on her level to date a man who can't even, you know, wouldn't have access to a woman like her, right? So her comment really, you know, it was explosive, to put it mildly. You know, she got a reaction from the men. She got a reaction from the women. She got a reaction from people who graduated from college. She got a reaction from people who didn't. What are your thoughts? And there are no wrong or right answers, but what are your thoughts about the women like Ebony K Williams, who were successful, you know, very educated, very cultured, you know, well-traveled? What are your thoughts about the women who say, no, got no business out there dating men who are driving buses. Got no business out there dating men who are blue collar. But then, what are your thoughts about the people who are saying, well, what about love? What about finding love? Does it matter if the man is blue collar? Does it matter if the man, what if he makes less than you? Right? What if he makes less than you, hard worker, but his job, his profession, he won't give you all the likes and hearts on Instagram. Right?
Right.
What are your thoughts about women like Ebony K Williams, or even women like yourself? Hardworking, beautiful, successful. But what business do you have dating blue-collar men who may not be making the money you make, who may not have the influence you have? They can love you. They may be talented. They may be, attractive, but they ain't out there like that in terms of the money. What are your thoughts on, not only what Ebony K. Williams said, but the whole mindset of, I guess dating within your league, blue collar, white collar, whatever?
And there's a lot of things going on in that question. But the first thing I want to say is people have a right to be in relationship with whomever they want to be, right? So on its face, I don't have an issue with someone saying I don't want to date a bus driver. Okay. Now, but when you say that with that tone that she took, it is said with the assumption that a bus driver can't be cultured or educated or well-traveled. And that's simply not true. And as you were talking, I'm thinking, I've only dated college-educated men since, graduating college. And it applies to them as well. Those things that, that people assume about blue-collar workers. I know lots of college-educated men who hold the same beliefs. They're not cultured. They're not well-traveled. They have bad credit. They don't have money in the bank. They don't own property. So it's unfair to assume that a man who's a blue collar worker couldn't fit into your world, right? I didn't come from, my mother worked in the restaurant business. My dad was a truck driver. I'm the first person in my family to go to college and graduate. So I don't see blue collar workers through that lens of less than. Like, they make the world turn. Right? If you didn't have somebody to service your car or serve you at a restaurant or ring up your groceries at Publix, we complain about Walmart all the time because there's nobody there to scan our groceries and to bag our things, right? So me personally, I don't feel that way about bus drivers. I would absolutely date a bus driver if he treats me in the way that I want to be treated. If he loves God, then I know he's going to love me, hopefully. That's the prayer and that's the hope, because I met some men who live in the church, but they were horrible behind closed doors. So that's not a guarantee either. But if there's evidence that he has a relationship with God and he loves God, then I'm going to believe that he is going to be able to love me the way that God loves me, right? I don't care about station. I don't care about any of that. It's, does he want to be better? Does he want those things? And a lot of men do. They just need help figuring out, how to move between those spaces, right? So I don't believe that because someone comes from that station in life where, Jack and Jill and Martha's Vineyard and all of that, that they're better than someone who had no spoons growing up. You know what I mean? Those people had silver spoons, these people had no spoons. So I don't necessarily believe that you're better than anybody based on, your family name or lineage. I just don't believe that. So my thought is that people are people, and if someone wants to love me and they are equipped to love me, then I'm here for it. And I don't care where they work. I don't care what they do. They need to be gainfully employed, right? I don't need any more dependents. But if they're ready and willing and able and want that, and we're attracted to each other, yeah, let's do it.
That's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. Good answer. Good answer. Well, Belle, thank you so much for stepping inside the ring, giving your thoughts. You know, for the people out there who want to get in contact with Belle Morgan, professionally, personally, or whatever the case may be, how can they find you on social media? And, you know, how can they connect with you? And, you know, for the people out there who are interested in Push Radio, who are interested in conversations with Belle, you know, how can they connect with you?
You can find me across all social media platforms at I am Belle Morgan, Belle, Morgan, Morgan. You can find me at ipushradio.com. You can listen. You can DM me on social media, email me. I'm easy to find.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Belle Morgan, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It has been a pleasure. Everybody out there, again, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you drop some comments. Make sure you like, heart, all that, you know, all that. We need you. We need the support. And again, everybody out there, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, and make sure you continue to support the YouTube channel. We're dropping new content regularly. And, you know, for the people out there who may not know, who may not understand, you know what I mean? Dating single mothers, try it, believe it. It's real. It's good.
Don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. Thank you so much, Belle. This has been, once again, this is Ringside's own Corner Confessions. And we are out.